Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Shop Dog Fabrication. Today what I wanted to do is kind of talk about, I'll call it a material collector. I've got actually two of these, and what I use these for is if I happen to be grinding, especially like a rusty axle, something frame, whatever. It can help collect the dust. Obviously I'll wear a dust mask, but once you start grinding, using a flap wheel on it, whatever, that material is going to be flying around in the air, the dust and everything. And it also kind of gets a mess in your shop. So I actually have two of these that I can set in the shop, kind of away from everything, especially if in the wintertime, like I've got all the doors closed, right, the windows closed. I'm trying to keep it warm in here. I'll run one or two of these in here, and they do make a little bit of noise, but it's much better having good air quality than a little bit of noise. These are very small, simple. I made these out of a 2x2 square, some scrap material I had lying around, and then basically I use cardboard on the sides and the back here, so to kind of keep it lightweight. I've got an opening here at the front and then also on the top, as you can see. And so what I can do is I can put two air filters, one on the front, one on the top. And basically, here's the inlet, so it'll draw the air in and through, and then the exhaust is on the back side. And it will pull a lot of air through. So these are small, basically fans out of like your house heating system. And I picked these up at like a flea market and swap meets. I've got, like I said, two of these. They're basically the exact same size. I got them for like $5 a piece, over varying times. And they work great for that. So if you're a powder coater and just want something small to help draw, the powder coat away, so again, you're not breathing it, or even if you're using a spray aerosol can to paint something on your car, or anything, in your shop, whatever you happen to be making. Again, it helps draw, the paint away and puts it into the filter. If you were grinding, what's nice is if you're using a pleated style filter, and I'll get the filters here in a second, it'll put all the material on the filter, and then after a little while, you can just take your shop vac, actually, just suck it all off the filters and just keep reusing the filter and let it go again. So again, these are just very simple, easy to make. They keep the dust down, or like I said, the spray paint or whatever you happen to be using down in your shop. And basically there's a couple of style of filters out there. You've got the super cheapy, which I have used at times. I really don't like using these. I prefer to use more of this style of filter. And the main reason being, this one does a much better job of collecting, the material. And then you can suck, basically out your shop vac a lot of times. This one, is very, doesn't have the pleats in it. It can pull actually the material into the blower. You can make a mess inside of the cabinet. And then, of course, it could blow it out, the exhaust, too. Now, granted, it does collect quite a bit of it, but these do a much better job of collecting, the paint and the dust and everything. And like I said, this one you can shop back out and do a much better job of keeping and reusing these. The other thing I'll do is, this one happens to be out of my house. I'll recycle these. They've been in there a couple months. They're dirty. But they're still good for using in the shop. You can see this one, it's got some orange paint on it. I happen to be painting something for my daughter who goes to the University of Tennessee, and so I was using some orange paint. You can see this does a really good job of collecting the paint, and then it doesn't get into the motor. Like I said, it doesn't exhaust it out. It doesn't put it all over the shop. So I just wanted to kind of share with you guys a simple, very inexpensive kind of, I'll call it again a material collector, to keep your lungs from breathing it. Obviously you want to wear still a respirator of some kind to make sure you're not breathing it, when you're up close to the project you happen to be doing. And this catches, like I said, a lot of the overspray. The car you see behind me here, I actually painted the car here in my garage. I had two of these running, and it did a very good job of collecting most of the overspray. Now I will say these filters did get plugged up pretty quick after spraying, and that was the whole idea, right? I don't want the stuff all over the garage. I don't want it all over the floor, or me breathing it. You know, I did have a paint suit on, and you know, these do a really good job. So I would have definitely plenty of extra filters on hand. You know, I could actually shop back a lot of the overspray off the filter and use them for a little bit longer, and then just kind of dispose of them. You know, these are basically all I do when I go to attach them. I'll just basically, you know, take my staple gun and staple them on. You know, this one's a little bit larger, as you can see, than the unit itself. You know, I'll cut these down and make them fit. At the time when I went and got these additional ones, they didn't have the 14s. They only had 16. So I picked these up at Menards, this style, for like $3 a piece. They're real inexpensive, you know, compared to your long-term health. So anyway, just wanted to share. As they say, please feel free to like and subscribe, and you know, make comments and provide feedback, and let me know if there's, you know, other little things or tips or tricks you want to share. Maybe there's something I've done that's similar, and I can share with you, you know, what I've experienced. So again, thank you for joining today's little episode of Shop Dog Fabrication.